And welcome everybody to another edition of the GSMC Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth, and it's great to have you guys here on this Monday, February 5th. We have a lot to talk about on the show today. As always, before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link, that is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. So with that being said, let's get right into what we are going to talk about for today. So we'll start off the show. I'll give you my thoughts on the Pro Bowl and also talk about the start of Super Bowl week as we're now narrowing it down. Media week is this week as well. So obviously we'll talk about that, with some of the players' interviews throughout the week. So, we'll get into that. Really exciting stuff coming up. Then in the second part of the show, I'll talk about an article that I was reading on Bleacher Report talking about why Belichick didn't get a job this year. Going into the 2024 season, so we'll get into that. Then in the third part of the show, we'll talk about some other coaching changes, also talking about Cliff Kingsbury backing out of the Raiders' offensive coordinator job and joining the Washington Commanders instead, so I'll get into that. And then in the final part of the show, another thing I saw is the Bears might be keeping the number one overall pick and not trading it. So what does that mean? What does that mean for Justin Fields? So we'll get into that in the final part of the show. So let's get right into the first topic, which is talking about the Pro Bowl and the start of Super Bowl week. So I'll be honest, did not watch the Pro Bowl. Did not watch it. Now you're probably saying, well, why are you giving your thoughts on it? Well, looking at social media and looking at, some of the highlights and, what happened. It seems like a lot of people like this new format. And the flag football game, it was, again, like the Pro Bowl wasn't about defense, but it was a very high-scoring game. Final score was 64-59. The NFC got the win. Baker Mayfield, I saw, won the offensive player of the game. He went 9 of 13 for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I'd love to see that. And also Eli Manning now has beaten Peyton Manning 2 years in a row since they started this new format. But, with that combined with the skills challenge, it's, the NFL's trying to keep fans engaged. And I guess, for what I'm seeing on social media, it seems like a lot of people like this format. So I guess you ride with it. I love that it's Peyton Manning and Eli Manning coaching the conferences. And let's be honest. The Pro Bowl, how it was the traditional way, there were a couple of years where it was fun. I thought when they did the fantasy draft and you had 2 Hall of Famers, coaching both sides, I thought that was cool. But, again, they stopped doing that. Then they went back to the traditional way, and it's just boring, So, it's something different, and you know what? It's been getting positive feedback, But again, not my taste. I don't really. I was out yesterday, so I wasn't locked into this, but I thought just giving my thoughts on it from what I saw. But, yeah, listen, if the players like it, that's the other thing, too. The players seem to enjoy it. So I guess, they got to keep rocking with this. And, but again, it's not something, again, I was out yesterday. I probably would have flipped it on if, it was, if I was home. But, I'm not locked into it because, it's got no meaning. But, yeah, listen, like I said, if the players like it, I guess you got to keep riding with it, So, so Pro Bowl is done, and now we move to Super Bowl week. And listen, I'm excited. I know a lot of people are complaining, which is going to happen. But listen, at the end of the day, I'm hoping it's a good game. That's really what it comes down to. But yeah, both teams, they arrived in Vegas. A couple of things to talk about. I know Travis Kelce, he was praising George Kittle, saying that he was the best tight end in the game, which a lot of people I know were saying, like, that's, you're just saying that you think you're the best tight end, but you're not saying it. But you know what? These are two of the best tight ends in the NFL. Top 5 tight ends in the NFL. Top 3, if obviously George Kittle actually was relatively healthy this year. I mean, he's been banged up a lot over the course of his career. Travis Kelce was banged up this year, but he gutted it out. That's it's nice that we still have them, playing in the league, of course. Because obviously when Gronk retired, tight end university took a big hit, but you got those two guys, and you also got obviously Sam Laporta with the Lions now, who had a great rookie season. Mark Andrews as well when he's healthy. T.J. Hawkinson. There's a lot of good tight ends in the NFL, and these are the top top 3. Some of the top 3 right here, Kelce and Kittle. Talking about that. Like I said, we're going to touch upon media week when these these players are getting interviewed and what they have to say. Obviously I want to save till the end of the week to preview the game. I mean, it's hard to do that because we've had like 2 weeks now to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, we're going to keep talking about it because once we get to the off season, then it's all off season stuff. So again, I'm excited for this game. I'm hoping it's good. I'm just a little nervous just because of how the 49ers have started off on offense these last 2 weeks. Also, actually, another thing I saw, Steve Wilkes was not happy with the performance of the defense. And him and Kyle Shanahan talking about the effort. And, people point to the Jahmyr Gibbs rushing touchdown in the championship game where Chase Young looked like he was, like, not trying on that play. Didn't even make an effort to try to tackle Jahmyr Gibbs. Listen, you're not going to be able to do that against the Chiefs. Like, I really do think that if the 49ers fall behind against the Chiefs, I don't think they're coming back. Now, the last couple of weeks, the first 2 playoff games, they've proved us wrong. Came back against the Packers, and then you came back from an even bigger deficit against the Lions. But against the Chiefs, I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. Because the Chiefs really don't blow leads. Now, the one lead I think about is the championship game from a couple of years ago when they lost to Joe Burrow in Arrowhead. But I don't think they are going to do that. So the 49ers, they have to, and I think they'll be prepared for this game. It's going to be tough to stop Mahomes, because if they can't get pressure, which is something that's kind of been a problem, and they were talking about it on the broadcast during the championship game. Mahomes is going to pick them apart because their secondary is not that good, So it's really important that they get pressure and they try to get after him. Because look at the Ravens defense. They did get to him later in the game, but it's hard. It's hard to get Mahomes down. So they're gonna have to get him off his spot somehow. So we'll see. I mean, last year they played against him and Mahomes threw for over 400 yards. So it is going to be a tough game. That's getting pressure is a must in this game for the Niners. But they also have to, again, they can't afford to get off to a slow start in this game on offense. They get the ball first, go right down the field and score a touchdown. Set the tone. Obviously the Eagles did that last year. They scored a touchdown on their first drive, and then the Chiefs answered right back. So we'll see. You got to rely on Christian McCaffrey. The Chiefs are not the best at stopping the run, so Christian McCaffrey's going to have to play a role. Obviously use Deebo Samuel coming out of the backfield as well. There's a lot of things that the Niners are going to have to do. Because it's not going to be easy. You're facing the best quarterback in the NFL, and you're facing the defending champs with an even better defense. That's what worries me, is the Chiefs' defense is even better, and they could definitely get Purdy off of his spot and force him into a turnover, I'm more worried about Purdy, turning the ball over as opposed to Mahomes, which, is not crazy to say, but yeah, I don't think Mahomes he hasn't had a pick in these playoffs. I don't think. Yeah, no, I think he hasn't turned the ball over once. So, I mean, the Chiefs have as a team, but he hasn't himself, I don't believe. So, we'll see what happens in this game. But Purdy against this Chiefs defense is going to be interesting. But again, just hope it's a good game. And like I said, like I've been saying, I want the Niners to win. But the way the Chiefs have been playing right now, it's hard to say that the Niners are going to win here. But it would get a huge thing off of Kyle Shanahan's back because of the previous 2 Super Bowls that he's been a part of, had double-digit leads, lost both of them, lost to Brady and Mahomes. And people are saying how the Niners' defense from 2019 was better, but you still have a majority of those players from that Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens, but look at the Chiefs. They're different. They don't have Tyreek Hill. They're not going to be running that wasp play, and Mahomes is going to throw a Hail Mary basically on 3rd and 15. He doesn't have a Tyreek Hill. Now, I will say the receivers, they've been playing well. And also, so I guess Kadarius Toney was saying that they kind of altered his Instagram Live to make it seem like he was, talking negative about the Chiefs. I mean, I don't really know. I'd have to look into it. But I did see that he is practicing. And he did make a big play in the Super Bowl last year. He ran back the punt return, set up a touchdown. I think it was his touchdown, because I know Sky Moore also scored a touchdown. But for me, I think Kadarius Toney should not play in this game because, he's responsible for some losses this year. And he's also responsible for some Mahomes interceptions. One that was returned for a pick 6 the first week of the regular season. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe they activate him, but he doesn't really see the field that much. I don't know. The Chiefs have been in such a groove. You would think that maybe you should just not play in this game. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, listen, Isaiah Pacheco, he's going to have a big role in this game because you look at the Niners' run defense and how it's been the last 2 weeks. The Lions, they went away. They got away from the run, and I think if they continued with that, kept pounding the rock, maybe it would have been a different outcome. But for whatever reason, they just they stopped running it. But them and the Packers ran the ball effectively against the Niners. And I'm like, listen, the Lions, they had Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going to want to run the football, and I think they're going to do it well. And they did in the first half. And then, again, it disappeared. And then, well, now you got the Chiefs and Isaiah Pacheco now being more involved in this offense. The Chiefs' offense being different this year. Pacheco's going to get the rock a ton of times, and I think he's going to find success against the Niners' run defense. So that's going to be a key in this game as well. And I think both the running backs will score a touchdown here, which is not really that, again, not that crazy to say, but it just, I mean, especially with McCaffrey, I mean, it's like a lock for him to score a touchdown every week. And Pacheco, he has scored a touchdown in every playoff game so far. So, right. Yeah, I think he also scored against the Dolphins. So, again, we'll just have to wait and see. But, again, we're at the start of Super Bowl week. Like I said, we'll talk about, when the players meet with the media, things they have to say. So, with that being said, though, we're going to take our first break of the show. And then when we come back, we'll talk about an article that I was reading on why exactly Bill Belichick did not get a coaching job for the 2024 season. So that is what we'll do when we come back from our first break of the show. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.